Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into a massive shift happening in the business world, successfully bringing an AI voice agent onto your team. Look, if you're tuned in, you already know voice AI isn't just a novelty anymore. It's a huge strategic asset. But getting it right? Well, that takes a lot more than just flipping a switch. So let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Will robots take my job? It's literally the first thing triggering automation anxiety in offices across the globe. As leaders, if we ignore this fear, I guarantee even your most brilliant technical rollout is going to hit a brick wall of human resistance. And we've absolutely got to figure this out because the stakes are staggering. We're talking $164 billion. That's how much in annual transactions voice assistants are expected to handle by 2025. Doing this right isn't just a fun little side project anymore. It is a strategic imperative. Because trust me, if you aren't optimizing for this, your competitors definitely are. So how do we actually pull this off? Well, in this blueprint, we're treating this tech just like a new hire. Here's our agenda. 1. The voice AI revolution. 2. Inside the tech architecture. 3. Rules for strategic deployment. 4. Navigating ethics and trust. And finally, number 5, managing the human element. All right, jumping straight into Section 1, the voice AI revolution. Let's set a quick baseline on what modern voice AI actually is today and why it's absolutely dominating business comms. We all know the pure agony of those old legacy press 1 for this, press 2 for that phone menus. They're rigid, they're frustrating, and honestly, they just feel super robotic. But today's natural voice AI, it's a completely different ballgame. It understands actual hands-free, natural conversation. It picks up on complex human intent, thick accents, and real context. It's basically the difference between trapping a customer in a maze versus just having a normal chat. And the impact on the business side is just undeniable. When you plug this natural dialogue directly into your CRM, the operational wins are massive. Get this, we're seeing a 39% drop in average handling time, alongside a 44% jump in customer satisfaction. Plus, sales pros are getting back roughly 2 hours every single day because the AI is flawlessly completing 95% of CRM fields automatically. It's essentially a top-tier admin assistant that literally never sleeps. Okay, moving on to Section 2, inside the tech architecture. Let's peek under the hood and see how this digital brain actually processes a natural conversation so incredibly fast. It all boils down to a lightning-fast 4-step stack. First, it listens. That's your automatic speech recognition. Second, it understands intent using natural language processing. Third, it decides what to do next through dialogue management and logic rules. And finally, it speaks back using a lifelike text-to-speech synthesis. For this to feel like a real human interaction, this whole loop has to happen in milliseconds. And I can't stress this enough. Speed is absolutely critical here. Any awkward delay and the illusion is instantly broken. Looking at recent research on low-latency architectures, if you optimize the text-to-speech layer specifically by dropping the audio processing down to 16 iterations, the system's first response latency plummets to a near-instant 640.9 milliseconds. Sure, you trade off a tiny fraction of audio quality, but the conversational speed you gain is a total game-changer. But here's the catch. All that blazing speed is completely useless if the AI can't actually do anything for the caller. That's why integration is completely non-negotiable. Hooking this conversational brain directly into your CRM, scheduling apps, and back-end platforms is the secret sauce. That's what transforms a fancy chatbot into an actual functional teammate. Which brings us to Section 3, Rules for Strategic Deployment. We've got the tech, right? So what are the actual rules of the road for bringing this digital employee on board without totally breaking our current operations? Well, the smartest companies out there, they definitely don't try to boil the ocean on day one. They start with narrow, high-volume, low-complexity stuff. Think checking order statuses or basic call routing. Then, you measure absolutely everything. We're talking CSAT, resolution rates, handle times. You A/B test rapidly to iterate. And crucially, you have to build rock-solid fallback plans for those angry or complex edge cases. The AI has to know exactly when it's time to tap a human on the shoulder. And that perfectly sets up the core philosophy here. The goal of this deployment is almost never to outright replace your human workers. Instead, it's about automating the routine, mind-numbing tasks so your human team can focus 100% of their energy on empathy-driven problem solving. Let the AI handle the data so the human can handle the relationship. Let's shift gears to Section 4, navigating ethics and trust. As we start handing over more responsibility to this digital teammate, putting strict ethical guardrails in place is absolutely vital. Because, let's face it, trust is incredibly hard to earn, but it takes just seconds to lose. Researchers actually point out a really profound danger here. One expert looking into virtual collaboration put it perfectly, saying, "I don't think we should build more technical barriers between people. If we just carelessly throw AI at every problem, it can foster real social isolation. You end up alienating customers who desperately just want a human voice, and you sideline your own employees." So how do we fix that? Complete transparency. You absolutely must disclose when someone is talking to an AI system. It's as simple as an intro saying, "Hey, you're speaking with our AI assistant today, but I can connect you to an agent anytime." That simple phrase works wonders for setting clear expectations and keeping that foundation of trust intact. And then, of course, we have to talk about data privacy. These voice agents are collecting incredibly sensitive biometric data. I mean, literally the unique sound of a person's voice. Your setup has to be bulletproof when it comes to global privacy frameworks like GDPR and HIPAA. You need role-based access controls. And most importantly, you have to guarantee users the right to have their data fully forgotten and wiped upon request. Finally, Section 5, managing the human element. Let's tackle what is easily the most overlooked piece of the AI puzzle, organizational change management. Look, intelligent automation will fall flat on its face if your team resists it. Organizations are just massive, complex webs of people. If you aren't managing the human side of this transition just as fiercely as the tech side, you're in trouble. If your stakeholders aren't bought in, that ROI you're chasing, it's never going to materialize. To cure that automation anxiety we touched on earlier, leadership really needs to frame this change properly. You have to answer everyone's favorite question, what's in it for me? You need to prove to your team that this AI is here to supercharge their capabilities and take away the tedious grunt work, not to threaten their livelihoods. The ultimate dream here is building a vibrant hybrid workplace where human staff and virtual assistants are literally working hand in hand. The AI takes on the massive data crunching, while the humans bring the nuance, the creativity, and the personal connection. That kind of synergy, it turns your entire organization into a continuous innovation powerhouse. But sustaining this takes real work. You need active, visible executive sponsorship. You need to create a safe environment where employees can learn to use these tools without worrying about making mistakes. You actually have to reward risk-taking and adoption if you want these new behaviors to stick and deliver long-term value. As we've unpacked in this explainer, when you carefully combine a robust technical architecture with strong ethical guardrails and a human-centric approach to change, you unlock unbelievable business potential. The future of business is absolutely conversational. The tech is here. It's ready, it's blazing fast, and it can plug right into your existing systems today. But the final and undoubtedly most important question you have to ask yourself is this: is your team truly ready to welcome their new digital teammate? Take a minute to think about that as you plan your next move. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.